Hey guys, hope everyone's having a great day today. For you that don't know me, my name's John Axonoff, and today I just want to share a little bit about my story and what's kind of happened over the last 15 months or so since I've joined Dibna's I Love Real Estate community. So I am definitely going to talk about my deals that I've done, the ones that I've made money on, ones that I haven't executed. But I really want to take a step back and talk about the emotional game that I've kind of overcome and been working on for the last 15 months. So I hope that's alright with everyone, and yeah, hope at least one person out there gets value from what I'm sharing. And yeah, I'm really grateful that you're all here and listening to my journey. So I really want to start just with the journey of the life journey of the Pisces, and hopefully this resonates with a few of you out there. So before joining this I Love Real Estate community, I was definitely focused on the money and really just going hard, and you know, probably arrogant in some ways, to be truthfully honest with you, and that wasn't fulfilling to me at all. And joining this community, I've really had a lot of doors that have been opened and got a lot of clarity over myself, and now finding this next part, which has been a massive game changer to me. So extremely grateful for Dibna herself and everybody in the I Love Real Estate community. So yeah, I'm going to go take a step back and talk a little bit about the journey of the Pisces. So this is doing work with Pip McKay actually. Extremely grateful for her. She's been a massive game changer in my life. Taught me a lot of tools, and yeah, it's been amazing. So as I just mentioned, like I was running in 1,000,000 miles an hour and just really focusing on the money. And that's, you know, I had my first company when I was 22 and built that up to having 14 guys work for us in 2 years. And I got to a point where, you know, I wake up every morning and it wasn't fulfilling. There was something missing. I was making good money, but it really wasn't fulfilling to my life. And, you know, every morning I'm waking up having to go to work, not getting to go to work. And I'm sure a lot of you out there feel the same way, and I'm sure that's why a lot of you have joined Dibna's community. Now, I was definitely in that boat, and there's been a few key pivotal moments in my life over the last 15 months that has really changed that, and I'd love to share that with you. So I'm a little bit camera shy, as you can probably tell. I've done a lot of work to overcome that, but I'm still working on it. Now, doing a bit of work with Pip McKay, like the journey of the Pisces is actually the evolution card. And what that actually looks like is you see a man laying down on the pathway in front of this big gate, and on the right hand side of him he has a wolf, which represents power, and in human terminology, when, you know, that could be work, and, you know, more of that masculine sort of take action. And on the left hand side you've got the dog, which represents love and connection and all of those things as well. So you can imagine in the Pisces there's the two fish swimming in the bowl, but they're swimming in opposite directions. Now that's actually the Pisces in shadow. Now the life journey of the Pisces is actually the evolution card. So as I just mentioned, you've got the wolf on the right hand side and the dog on the left. Wolf representing power, dog representing love. And the man laying down, ready to take his next path in the journey. Now, some of the key things that I've really overcome, and I do know where I am in my life journey, and now I'm in the next point of my journey, and I'm trying to find that oneness, which is quite an amazing thing. So as I just mentioned to you guys before, you know, I had the company just running 1,000,000 miles an hour, just focusing on the dollar, and it was not fulfilling at all. Now there's a few key points in my life that have really made that change. One was joining Dibna's I Love Real Estate community and meeting so many beautiful people out here, and like all of you guys, that it's just been amazing. You know what they all say is, you are the 5 people you hang around. So surrounding yourself with like-minded people that are all in it for not only the money, but, you know, to be successful in every realm of your life. So that comes, you know, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. So surrounding yourself in that environment is really taking it to the next level for me. That was a really beginning of my journey. A few key people that I've met in through my journey is Gloria. She's basically been a second mum to me. Her son Barris, he's gave me one of the biggest tips in my life that really changed a lot in my life, which such a simple tool, and I hope somebody out there like might jump on this and try it out, because I think it really helps. And that little tool is I was single, and I was putting band-aids on what I really wanted, and what I wanted was love. And before, I was too scared to even admit that. And Barris once asked me, he said, "Have you ever written down what kind of girl you want?" But I'm like, "No, but I know what I want." He's like, "Have you ever written it down?" And yeah, so I went home that night and I actually wrote down a list of 40 things that I want in a girl. And then when you do that, you've actually got to look over it and write down what kind of guy you've got to be to find that woman. Now, this has been a pivotal moment, because through my learnings, I've realized that love and connection is one of my biggest motivators, and that is what gets me up. That's when I'm setting goals, that's what I need to put that emotion behind it to really get me up and going. So thanks very much, Barris. I really appreciate that, and I hope somebody else out there tries it, because I guarantee you it'll change something in your life. From there, I met Nicole Ritter, where I'm not sure if everyone out there remembers last year Dimna had the Property Games Kids running that competition, where basically found some young adults from the age of 18 to I think it was 22, and gave them all the tools, resources, mentors and everything. These guys didn't have any money to start with, but they've got the knowledge, and they've got the mentors behind them. So it's really that environment, and surrounding themselves in that environment, getting them up, taking action. And Nicole, basically, she's always wanted to be one of the Property Games Kids, but she was too old to join the community. So what she did, she actually started her own group, and I was the one that put my hand up and said, yeah, I'd love to join that. And so we did, and we started this little Property Games, like little competitors of the Property Games Kids, and called it the Property Avengers. And yeah, that was a massive game changer again for me, because we did get a lot from it. So we actually had a few mentors that actually reached out to us as well. One of them, which I am extremely grateful for, he's changed my life. There was a massive part in there where he changed my life, which was Kevin Dudney. He's now a good friend of mine, so thank you, Kevin. Now, as I was mentioning, like I've had the company, I was running it, and came into this community and just opened all these doors, and I was still running a million miles an hour. I sold the company, and then I'm just like, all right, going straight into property, and that's it. Head down, ass up, and that's the attitude I had. Like, I'm gonna make money in this. And then I met Kevin. So Kevin basically pulled us in and said, he had to ask us twice. So yeah, actually, he came and said to us, if you guys want a meeting, give me a call and arrange a meeting, and we'll talk in the office. So we did, caught up with Kevin, and what actually happened for me was, it was amazing, really. Like, I was running a million miles an hour, and I got hit by a bus. Like, I was probably there for about 2 hours talking with Kevin, and all I wanted to do was go home. After that meeting, all I wanted to do was go home and cry. One of the best feelings in my life. So it was extremely amazing, and that is actually a part of the evolution on the Pisces. So as I've just mentioned, like, you see the evolution, the man laying down on the ground because he's just been hit by a bus and he really needed to recover. So since then, that was about 12 months ago now, and yeah, like, since then I stopped focusing on the money. I really just started focusing on myself and what do I need. I dabbled in a few little things, like, do I want to do this business, do I want to do that, but there was nothing that was really resonating with me. And it was actually extremely hard for me, because I'm so focused on making that dollar, to the point where you just get hit by a bus and just say, you know what, I'm not going to focus on the money, I'm going to focus on myself and give me what I need, and just trust your intuition, let that really come out. And really, I'm so grateful that I did do that, because when I stopped focusing on the money, that's when it started presenting itself. I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard that from, you know, Tony Robbins, and I don't know who else you listen to, Tom Bilyeu's, or but they all say it. All the successful people out there say it, and it's true. Like when you stop focusing on the money, it does come. Yes, you got to take action. Yes, you got to do this, but that's not the only thing you got to do. You really need to give your body what it needs. Listen to what it's trying to tell you. So yeah, from there, like I actually bought my first property thanks to Dibna. So I originally joined the community because I was ready to buy a property, but I didn't know exactly where I wanted to buy. Didn't know what I was looking for, so I was like, okay, I need to get some knowledge so then I can really make the right investment opportunity. And so yeah, having Dibna's community and her team there, which anyone starting out there that's new, and if I can give you any advice about what to really utilize from Dibna's community, is use her network. She's got an amazing network. So one of the first things I did was and build that right team. You really need the right team, like when it comes to your property strategists, your accountants, your solicitors, you name it. She's got it all there. So reach out, make sure you have a chat to them. You've got a free consultation with your property strategist and your broker and stuff like that. So I went and actually seen my mortgage broker and property strategist, mortgage broker, sorry. And he basically said, I want you to map out, go down, buy an property investment magazine, and I want you to map out from Brisbane City Council, from Sunshine Coast to Gold Coast. And what I want you to do is I want you to find the same amount of sold properties last year to the same amount of properties that are on the market today. So, you know, I went home and bought the magazine and did all the work. A couple of days later, you know, the two areas that came up were Logan Central, Woodridge, which is like the same little area, and Beenleigh. And then, you know, I'm doing this and I'm like, why do you want me to buy in here? Like, this is, you know, the worst, one of the worst areas you could think of. But I was like, okay, I'll trust what they're telling me, and I did. And then I did did my own research behind it, which, you know, had the main train line going from Brisbane City to the Gold Coast. And, you know, talking to Dibna, listening to Dibna, she talks about the wave effect, where, you know, Brisbane City gets built out and then they start building out in the outer regions. So like, you know, Ripley and Springfield Lakes and whatever else. And then what people start to realise, those prices are now too high to buy, so they start looking for the inner suburbs between Brisbane City and these outer suburbs that have just been built, which drives up all those house prices. Logan, for example, perfect area for that ripple effect strategy. So that was one indicator that I was like, okay, that's a great indicator. You know, it's starting to get harder and harder for people to get to work, so, you know, they're really going to start looking for that communal transportation. So having the main train line from Brisbane City to Gold Coast was perfect, and Logan Central is basically central from both of those areas. So that was another great great indicator that, you know, there's future development going on here. And there's actually a few little pockets. So then I did my research into the area a little bit further and more in depth, and I found these two little pockets where there was one little pocket that was commercially zoned, and then you had the other pocket which was like low medium residential, where you can build like your townhouses and things like that. So I went ahead and I bought a property out in Logan Central, and bought right next to a medical centre, which was amazing, in the commercial zoned area, where if I wanted to, I could have, you know, built 12 stories high, and 12 meters high, mixed use. So I could have put like shopping centre, I could have done apartments, I could have done a service station. There was a lot of options. So, you know, I started exploring it. I had a pre-lodgement meeting with the council where I actually proposed to do 9 one-bedroom units in the backyard, using mine and my neighbour's block, which we had all the room to do it and everything else, so it all complied. Obviously that's where all the due diligence comes in, and you really need to start taking action. And then from there, the council basically said, yeah, okay, like, we do want to see development in this area, but can you do something larger? So and then they had a few requirements, like they wanted to see glass face and everything. So for me to go ahead, I've gone ahead with that property deal, I would have had to, you know, lift the 2 existing properties, build commercial underneath and residential on top. So then that would have allowed me to do the 9 1-bedroom units in the backyard. And I was like, okay, well, it's probably a little bit big for me right now, so I'm going to take a step back, and I know what I've got to do. I've got all the knowledge there. I've got all the, you know, I've printed out everything, and, you know, I've got everything, so I can take action on it later when I choose to. So I just sat back on it, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to focus too much on that. I'm just going to continue, you know, growing myself and whatever else, and focus a little bit into a few other areas, which, you know, I ended up getting a group of guys together, and we started looking and doing subdivisions. This is one area that we didn't actually execute on, but got a lot of knowledge from it, which I'm extremely grateful for. And because of life changes, obviously, I'm actually now here in beautiful Sydney for my next venture. But yeah, basically we had a group of guys together all doing, like, you know, weekly recordings and really focusing on getting a subdivision, which was amazing. We really felt like we're going to get it and everything like that. We were trying to keep the strategy simple, but then one thing that we kind of figured out was, when it comes to your capital gains tax in Queensland, if we were to basically, what we're trying to do is buy an option agreement where we could subdivide somebody's backed block and sell it for them, where that way we're not having to pay capital gains tax, they get a lump sum, and so do we. But where it didn't work out was, because you're creating a new asset, now this person that's living in their PPNR, they will have to pay capital gains tax on the full sale amount, which really takes your profit down, especially with the areas we're looking at where the property, the blocks were selling for around $400,000 or $500,000. So that was a bit of a, we had to tweak our strategy, so we didn't end up going through with it, but got a world of knowledge there, which I'm extremely grateful, and I know I'll take action on that later on when I'm ready to do so. Just have to tweak the end goal just a little bit more. But anyway, so, you know, just trusting myself and really working with myself, working with Pip McKay, which has been really good, where you really get into your subconscious, and you're releasing anchors that you've had created from the age of 0 to 6. So everyone's got the human blueprint, and basically your blueprint's created from the age of 0 to 6. So whatever environment you were in, like whatever your mum and dad were doing, you know, if you had a really loving mother, like, you would have, when you grow up, you're more likely to find a really loving mother as a partner, and so on and so on. So, but then you've also got the negative side, where you've got the negative anchors that come along with that as well. So with Pip's work, she uses the basis of NLP to create a scripting, and then she's got the 15-year spirituality side of things, where she uses that as the feminine, which actually nurtures your body after you've released those anchors. So you go through and you release your anchors that you no longer serve you, which is quite masculine, and then you basically use the spiritual side of things, the nurture, which creates, releasing anchors creates a space for you to focus your energy in more important things in your life. And then obviously the nurture that is also what you need, because you need that love, you need all that stuff, you need the wisdom, you need the strength, whatever it might be that your younger self needs. So did a lot of that work, and you know, the emotional roller coaster is really where it's all began for me. And yeah, just really forgetting about that dollar figure, which you know, when I did that, that's when the universe started talking to me, and that's when it started presenting new opportunities. And my property in Logan Central, I actually made $230,000 profit, which is great for my first deal, and that was from the day that I signed the contract to the day that I executed the contract was 13 months. So I'm quite happy that I made, yeah, $230,000 off my first property deal in 13 months, which was actually one of my exit strategies that I was looking at doing, but I didn't think it was going to happen so soon. You know, I thought, you know, developers are going to eventually come through here and, you know, want to develop this, so you're probably going to get a higher price. But obviously, having the medical center right next door, they wanted to execute fast. They wanted to expand their blueprint. So, you know, they came and negotiated the first time. They sent out a buyer's agent and offered me 100,000 more than I bought it for, which I kindly turned down. And then 3 months later, you know, just believing in myself, and I just said, you know, that's not right. I'm happy, like, and whatever else. And then next 3 months later, they sent another buyer's agent, someone that was a little bit more experienced, and you know, really wanted to find out what my needs are and everything. And basically said, at the end of our hour-and-a-half meeting, he said, I am here to, you know, obviously put an offer on your property. What is it that that you want? And I just said to him, look, I'll tell you exactly the same thing I told the last guy. Put your best offer on paper and I'll take it in consideration. And he's like, okay, well, can you give me 20 minutes and I'll go talk to the buyers and then I'll come back? And I said, yeah, sure. And he came back and he basically offered me 200,000 more than what I purchased it for. And I said, okay, well, can you give me the next week to think about it? And he said, yeah, that's fine. So he called me the Monday and I said, if you're serious about buying it, put 575 on contract and I'll sign it tomorrow, because today's a public holiday. Calls me back in an hour and said, yep, all good, go ahead with it, and sent me a contract within 2 hours with with that extra $30,000 profit on, or $25,000 profit on what they were originally offering. So I guess one of my key takes on that is, really, when you stop focusing on the money, I'm not saying stop taking action, but when you stop focusing on the dollar figure and really start getting inside you and getting those emotional, really getting that emotional game, and getting to learn about yourself, trust in your intuition, and trust the universe will provide, because it is on your side. It's just trying to teach you lessons, so then when you're ready, you then can, you know, help a larger audience. Like, I guess like what Dibna does, she's had her lessons and now she's out here and making a positive change, and she talks about it in her energy, like, a lot, when she talks about the energy shift and the field, by just, you know, just by shifting a few people's energy can make a lot larger impact. So yeah, that has been a massive gift to me, and that was all because I stopped focusing on the money. Now, there's one last thing that I really want to share with you guys, and this is a little bit of an internal conflict that I had with myself as well. And after talking to a few people, they really told me I really need to share this story, because you know, like, it will inspire other people. And I've actually now got a partner, which you know, doing all the work. It's amazing. I can't ask for anyone better. She's a truly amazing person. Her name's Vanessa. So anyway, I was actually talking to her about this, and I told her that I wanted to share this story. I'll do this post, and she said, you need to share that story. And she told me basically, by not sharing this story, I'm actually doing, I'm disserving people, because if I can share my story and, you know, just inspire at least one person out there, which I really hope this, you know, resonates with someone, and somebody else might get value out of this and try and do the same, that's empowering. So why it was a little bit of an internal conflict for me was, you know, I kind of do this because it grounds me, and this is something I enjoy doing, not because I want to get, you know, credit for it or anything like that. And it was actually after one of Pip McKay's events, during Pip McKay's event, I just did a dad clearing, actually. It was just quite emotional, and I just wanted to go for a walk, and I was like, oh, cool, like, you know, going for a walk, and I'm like thinking to myself, oh, maybe I'll find my partner now. Like, this is like maybe 6-8 months ago or something that I did this, possibly a little bit longer. And you know, walking down the streets and thinking, maybe I'll find the girl that I've been really looking for, and whatever else, having that intention. And I was walking past, and there was actually a homeless guy that I walked past, and I've always wanted to help homeless. Like, it's just something that I've really had a passion for. And yeah, so I was just walking past it, and I walked past this guy, and I just said to him, like, I actually walked past him, and I turned around and I said, hey, like, you know, started to get to know him. Like, I'm like, hey, like, how did you get into the position you are, and whatever else. And sometimes I personally feel like you don't have to give people money, you don't have to give them items. Sometimes someone that's on the streets might just appreciate you stopping and having a conversation with them and really getting to know them. And you know, if you've got some knowledge you can share with them, might actually change their life. Like, you know, I gave this guy some like Tony Robbins videos to watch and stuff like that, because I really got to know him, and he was actually quite an amazing guy. But anyway, I gave this guy, went to the ATM, I said, what do you need? And he said, nothing. And I was like, well, would money help? And he's like, yeah, of course, but I don't like to ask for money. I was like, okay, well, I went to the ATM and I came back and I gave him $50. And I went back throughout my day, and I just didn't feel right about it. I'm like, I don't feel right about giving this money to this person. Anyway, we went out for dinner that night with a few friends after Pip's course, and this guy was still sitting there, and I was like, I'm just going to quickly go talk to him. And the girls I was with, they were like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable with that. I'm like, oh, that's cool, like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. But they ended up waiting for me up the street anyway. But anyway, I went and talked to this guy, and I was like, what do you actually need? Like, what would help you? And he's like, I don't need anything, I'm okay. I'm like, well, would clothes help? And he was like, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, well, how about I meet you here tomorrow, and we exchange numbers, exchange details. And I went home that night, and I packed this suitcase full of clothes, and it's quite late at night. I was quite exhausted, but I knew I had all these clothes laying around the house still. Some of them were, you know, in boxes from when I moved into the house, and other ones were in the cupboard. You know, I packed some really good clothes in there. So I was like, you know, some work shirts that, you know, like, as some of you know, that it's like $50 work shirts, and then you've got like, you know, shorts can be like $100 and stuff. So they're all still in their packaging and everything, and I packed a suitcase full of clothes, and I went back there the next day, and you know, I tried to meet up with him in the morning, but I don't know, he must have still been asleep or something, so I didn't get to catch him in the morning. But I called him in the afternoon, and I said to him, I was like, hey, did you still want to catch up? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I was actually with Nicole, she was doing the PIPS course as well, and I said to Nikki, hey, do you want to give some clothes to this homeless guy? And she was like, yeah, of course, let's go do that. So we went downstairs, and you know, drove down, and I parked on the street, and I was like, called this guy up and said, well, I'm on the street, come meet us here. So he did, met us there, and I opened up the back of my door and opened up the suitcase, and I said, oh, this is what I've got for you. And sorry, I just remember seeing this guy's eyes, where his eyes started getting watery, and like you could see he was getting quite emotional, which, you know, really touches inside when you see that from another human being. And this male might have been like, you know, he's 40s, maybe 50s, and living on the streets, and he was getting quite emotional. And I was like, oh, it's okay, like, you know, had a bit of a chat to him, and really just treated him like I treat all you guys, like you're like you're my family. And you know, I could see him getting a bit emotional, so I came over and like gave him a hug and said, everything's going to be okay. And then he turned around and said, I just want you to know that that $50 that you gave me yesterday, I actually went to somebody else on the street, this young guy that I know, and I said to him, what do you want? Like, let's go get dinner, like I'll buy you anything you want. I was like, what? This guy, like a homeless guy, actually used that money that I gave him to go help somebody else. Like, it's that ripple effect, just starting from something, just the kindness. And I was like, it's not something I was expecting, but really, like, that was just so, I was so grateful for that. Anyway, I opened this suitcase, showed this guy, and he was nearly in tears, and he's like, I can help so many people with this. And he was really getting emotional, and I was like, you know, just gave him a good hug and said, it's okay, like, everything's going to be all right. And, you know, gave him a few little, had a bit of a chat to him, but, you know, I won't go too far into depth with that. Anyway, I got back in the car, and I remember seeing this guy, walking around the corner, and I was sitting in the car and just watching him with this dirty suitcase full of clothes and another carry-on bag just with clothes. And I'm just thinking at that moment, like, this man is probably one of the happiest men in the world right now, with a dirty suitcase full of clothes. And that just like got me so hard. It really like I was basically in tears in that moment when that happened. And I was just thinking, like, this homeless guy that lives on the street with some clothes being one of the happiest men in the world right now, and really made me appreciate what we do have. Like, look, I'm in beautiful Sydney right now, and I think we all forget, like, we got to be more grateful for, like, you know, we get to have 3 square meals a day. Like, we have work, we have clothes, we have everything, and I think we really need to start being more grateful for that. The key point out of this that little story I wanted to share with you is, you know, giving back. Like, giving back is one of the biggest things, and that really touched my heart. Like, and I've done that multiple times since then. Sometimes I won't give them anything. Sometimes I'll just go sit down and talk to them. Sometimes I'll just go sit down and talk to people that are on the streets, or whatever the situation might be. Generally, I get called to whatever's happening, and yeah. So that's been my journey for the last 12 months. I told you a little bit about the emotional game, and I've also shared with you some of my financial success. And now I'm on to my next venture, which I won't talk into it now because I know we're limited on time, but I really appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to this. Extremely grateful. And just before I sign off, I really want to say thanks to a few people in particular. Dawn Reed, thank you for reaching out originally when I first started. You really helped me in a lot of ways. Gloria Aslan, thank you very much. You are my second mother, and I love you immensely. And Barris as well, thank you again for my little tool that I've now found 39 out of 39 on that list, which, how about that? That's exactly what you told me was going to happen. And Nicole Ritter, of course, thank you very much for starting that group and being my support when I've needed it, and being through that journey with me. And yeah, you're an amazing friend, and I love you as well. I want to say thank you to Dibna, of course. Thank you very much. You've built such an amazing community, and the insight that you share with everyone, it's phenomenal. I always learn something new every time I come and listen to you talk. Kevin Dudney, like, I haven't got words to put on that one, but yeah, thank you so much for all the support you've given me. Yeah, I don't think I need to speak. You're quite an inspirational man, and I really appreciate everything that you've helped me with. So thank you to everyone, and everyone else that I've met in the I Love Real Estate community. You've all been such a great support. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you, and I really appreciate everyone sitting here and listening today. Thanks. See you guys.